Welcome to Movie On. Today we're going to do a recap of the movie called Abre los Ojos from 1997. The movie starts with the girl's voice which says Abre los Ojos in Spanish, which in English means open your eyes. Hearing that, a young and very handsome man whose name is Caesar, and he's the lead of the story, wakes up from deep sleep. After waking up, he's driving his car around the whole city, and the city is completely deserted. There's no other person beside him in the city. He doesn't see anyone around him. He gets out of the car and roams around the city to find someone, but all in vain. And then again he hears the girl's voice saying in Spanish, Abre los ojos, and wakes up from the deep sleep. But this time there's a girl sleeping next to him in his bed. He said to her that she has to stop recording messages in his alarm clock, because when he listens to them, he gets annoyed by that. After saying this, he leaves his home in his car, and on the way he picks up his friend Peleo, and they go to play squash together. Then from there, the scene shifts to the jail, where Caesar is present and he's having a session with a psychiatrist. He's telling the psychiatrist his story. We see that Caesar is wearing a prosthetic mask, and he's in jail because he's been charged with committing murder. Then in flashbacks, we see the story of Caesar revealed. Caesar's story begins where he's very rich, charming, and handsome, and a girl finds Caesar very much attractive. He's a playboy and he flirts with every girl, and shifts his focus from girl to girl in a matter of seconds. Because of this, he develops a reputation for himself and is known as a playboy. At Caesar's birthday party, he meets a girl named Sophia. She's the girlfriend of Caesar's best friend, but ignoring it, he still flirts with Sophia habitually. He pulls her into a room where they sit and chat and laugh for a long time. After the party is over, Caesar takes Sophia to her home, and after that he spends the night there, but nothing special happens between them. The next day, his obsessive ex-girlfriend, Nuria, comes to pick Caesar up from Sophia's house, and takes him with her in her car. But Nuria's intentions are not good, and she's planning something very malevolent. She plans on killing Caesar even at the cost of her own life. She overspeeds the car, and then she intentionally crashes her car down a hill, because she wants them both to be dead. But Caesar luckily does not die, and he survives the accident, but his whole face gets messed up really badly, and it's ruined to the point that it cannot even be fixed by cosmetic surgery. He goes to many doctors and plastic surgeons, but the answer is always the same. Then he's forced to wear a prosthetic mask to hide his face. But when he goes to meet Sophia, she starts to run away from him because his face is so ugly and awful that she's not brave enough to see it. That man who was very confident about his looks and lived his life as a Casanova, a wonderful life, but now he looks so ugly after the accident that no one wants to see his ugly face. Much like the ugly barnacle who was so ugly that everyone died. His face was his everything and his charm, and now he lost it. After that accident, he faces some very weird experiences that he doesn't even understand what is reality and what is fiction or dream. He's so confused by reality. One night he meets Peleo and Sophia in the club, and he tries to talk with Sophia, but she runs away from him. After getting depressed by that, he drinks so much alcohol in the club that night. When going home with Peleo, he acts weird and starts to run away from him. By seeing his best friend also leaving him because of his ugly face and treating him like a weirdo and a creep, Caesar's heart shatters into pieces, and he gets so broken down and starts crying, he falls asleep on the road holding his mask in his hand. Surprisingly, when he wakes up in the morning, his reality has changed completely. Sophia is standing right in front of him. First of all, he sees Nuria in her face and gets startled. But when he focuses, he realizes it is indeed Sophia, and she says sorry to him and tells him that she loves him. Then she kisses him, and they start to walk hand in hand. He says that all of this stuff is happening to him, to which Sophia replies that it's a glitch of the brain, and it happens with many people. In present, Caesar starts to get tense in prison and wants to be free and get out of prison, to which the psychiatrist says that he's charged with murder. But Caesar does not know what he's done. The psychiatrist, Antonio, tells him that he says the name Ellie in his sleep. Caesar replies that he doesn't know anyone by the name Ellie. In his dreams, he only sees an office and some papers, and he's asked to do a signature, and he doesn't see anything else in his dreams. By continuing his story, he says that those doctors that refuse to do his cosmetic surgery tell him that he can now fix his face, and they brief him on that, and he agrees for surgery, and the cosmetic surgery is successful, and he gets his old attractive and charming face back once again. And after that, his best friend starts treating him as usual and behaving normally. And one night, Sophia goes to Caesar's house and sees that his face has been treated and has been fixed. He's gotten his charm look back, and she stays the night with Caesar. They both get naughty in bed and sleep there together. Later at night, when Caesar is woken up in the middle of the night and goes to the washroom, he turns on the light and in the mirror he again sees his ugly face. He is startled by the sight, but soon he realizes that he is just hallucinating and he feels like he's still asleep in bed with Sophia. When he comes back and sees that the girl which is sleeping next to him is not Sophia, but the girl is Nuria, he acts quickly and ties her down in the bed. He asks what she's doing in his bed and that she died in the car accident. But Nuria keeps replying to him many times that she's Sophia, not Nuria, and she never got killed in a car accident. Caesar takes her to the police station to report her and try to find Sophia, but the police also say that in reality Nuria is Sophia, and the girl which is Sophia for Caesar never existed in reality. After hearing this, he gets very angry and leaves the room. Then suddenly his best friend Paleo comes there and hits him. He says that he'll never meet Sophia ever again. Everyone except Caesar knows Nuria as Sophia, and because of this he's very confused. Paleo shows him a picture of him and Nuria, which proves that the girl Caesar knows as Sophia never existed, and he believes Nuria to be Sophia. After leaving from there, Caesar goes to the club, where he meets a man who sits next to him and starts talking to him. He says to Caesar that he can help him and tells him that he has to control his mind, and everything which is happening to Caesar is not reality, it's a dream, and he's very confused between reality and dreams. And proof to that is the people present around Caesar in the club, who normally live their own life, but Caesar brings all of them here in the club in his dream, and it's just an illusion created by Caesar. In present, Antonio the psychiatrist is currently hypnotizing Caesar and asking him about his dreams. Caesar tells him his dream, where he replies that a secretary named as Ellie sends him into a room for a meeting, and there he meets the same man which he had already met in the club, and that man convinces him to sign on some paperwork. After that session, Antonio diagnoses him and presents the report, as he says that he must have taken some kind of drugs which caused the disorder in his mind, and which have led his mind to get confused between reality and dreams. And it's revealed that Caesar killed Sophia, meaning Nuria, by putting a pillow on her face and suffocating her. Antonio is frustrated by his point of view and his vague claims and statements, because not a single statement said by Caesar has any proof, and he leaves from there. When Caesar is watching television with the other inmates, he sees the same man in the show in the television that he met in the club that night, and who got him to sign a paper. And here he gets informed that when Caesar sleeps on the road after drinking so much alcohol, then after some time he goes to a company called Life Extension, which is very specialized in cryonics. The workers of that company freeze their clients and then give them experiences of their lucid dreams, and by creating virtual reality, they show them the dreams which are very opposite to reality and life. Caesar takes Antonio to the company Life Extension to give him proof of his reality. Antonio says to him that he is alive and he's not dead, and cryonics have been not given to him, so what he wants to prove by coming in this company Life Extension, company manager explains them that what their company is famous for and what they actually do. If any client wants to live in the present and he doesn't want to live in the future, then they freeze that person in the present, and after their death, they give them a new life in the form of dreams, meaning that person will theoretically be immortal, and he cannot die, because he's living in a dream and he has everything he wants in that life. But that life is actually virtual reality, and their company also makes sure and takes care of the fact that clients do not remember that he's actually dead or frozen, because they will erase their death memory. After that, Caesar gets convinced that he's living in a dream. He and Antonio are in a room together, and Antonio tries to make him understand that it's not a dream, it's actually real life, but he's not willing to believe it. Then Antonio asks Caesar to take off his mask and see his ugly face, to get to know that it's reality. He shouldn't hide himself behind the mask of delusion, but Caesar does not agree to this. After trying hard, at last Antonio convinces him to take off his mask. According to Caesar, his face is totally messed up, and that's why he's afraid and did not look at the mirror. Antonio says that Caesar's face is good-looking and pretty. He does it because he wants to make Caesar look up at his face in the mirror and understand that even though his face is still messed up, that's okay. He's still a good-looking man, and this is not a dream. But Caesar starts to run away from there, and while getting out, he hits a policeman. He gets out of the building and he points a gun towards the police, and he does so because he wants the police officers to shoot him and end his life. But when the police officers shoot at him, this time Antonio runs and gets between him and the bullets. The bullets hit Antonio in the back and his neck, and then something strange happens which confuses even Antonio. And after that, he realizes that all of this is really a dream, because he has no injury and the police officers behind him have disappeared in thin air, and Antonio, like all the people in the bar, are not real human beings, but they're characters of Caesar's brain, which live in the dream of Caesar. They both go to the terrace of the building where they met the owner of Life Extension, and he's the same guy from the bar. He tells Antonio that he and Antonio met each other 150 years ago, and the place where Antonio is living is that man Caesar's mind, and Antonio and himself both are the characters of Caesar's dreams. The owner of Life Extension tells Caesar that the night when he woke up on the road outside the club, he signed a contract, and the same night he committed suicide by taking poison, and all of that gets removed by the doctors, so that's why Caesar has no idea about it. They freeze dead Caesar for 150 years, and the very next day he wakes up. From then, everything which happened until now is not real. It's a dream, which Caesar is living, and the conversation of all of the three of them is also getting heard by Life Extension Company staff. And if they want to awake from that dream, they have to give their lives. After hearing this, Caesar agrees to give his life. Then Antonio tries so hard to stop him, but he has decided that he doesn't want to live anymore in dreams in the end, right before jumping from the building. Before that, we see that his face is now all right, and one last time he meets Sophia and his best friend Paleo, and he does so by thinking about them. And then he jumps from the top of the building, and after that, in a black screen, a girl says, "Abre los ojos" in Spanish, which means open your eyes in English, which means that Caesar was woken up, and now he's going to live with his ugly face, or maybe the dream life has started from the beginning. No one knows for sure, and the movie ends there. So in brief, we saw that Caesar was a very rich man, and he was so confident, but he was in an unfortunate accident that spared his life, but disfigured his face for a lifetime and beyond repair, and he has to hide his face behind a prosthetic mask. After losing his precious face, he loses confidence, and he's pushed to his last bricks, where he's very desperate. An old man who owns a company named Life Extension offers him to sign up to a project that lets a person live a dream like the state of virtual life, and that feels so real. Caesar is desperate and he signs the paper. He's then put into the cryogenic sleep, and in this virtual world, he lives a life as he wanted. He spends 150 years frozen there, and the company observes him. They even remove his memories, so that he has no idea that he's living in a dream. He eventually learns that this is a dream, and the only way to get back to real life is to end the person's life there in the dream world. Caesar listens to all this, and he decides to jump off of a roof to end his life. And he does so, but the screen goes black, and he again wakes up, and we still don't know whether it's real life or therapy. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. And at last I will say, stay safe, stay well, thanks for watching.